Welcome to the Pathways to Prosperity podcast, where we explore personal, professional, and financial success stories of top achievers. Let's dive in.
Welcome to Pathways to Prosperity for Entrepreneurs, where we spotlight extraordinary leaders driving change and innovation. Today, we're thrilled to welcome Liza Marie, a dynamic entrepreneur, 6-time author and going on to 7, a strategic visionary with a proven track record, including her tenure as a tech CEO in the Pacific Northwest. Join us as we dive into Lisa's remarkable journey, uncovering her insights in entrepreneurship and learn the strategies used to inspire others to reach their highest potential. So how are you doing? How's your day, Liza?
It's pretty good because we're about 20 degrees warmer in Tampa, Florida. We've been on a cold freeze, which, it's no one's cold except for Tampa people. So I'm doing great, and it's Monday. Nice to be here. Thank you, Tristan.
No, of course. Yeah, I know that, Tampa's hitting that kind of cold weather. Now they're heading back up to their warmer areas, and now it's getting like that around the country. So if you don't mind, could you possibly tell us about, how successful you've been, not even that, but also what you've been able to do to really become an author? I've seen you've been writing books. Like you said, you're an ex-CEO. So kind of guide us through your journey and how you got in there.
Yes, thank you. I haven't heard it said ex-CEO, former CEO, but I guess you're right, right? Ex-CEO. No, you're 100% right. I'm an ex-tech CEO from the Pacific Northwest, and that is where my, as you call it, the pathway, right? I had someone call it, the dirt road that all founders and entrepreneurs have to trail down. But yeah, my journey started in the Pacific Northwest. I was an IBM engineer out of college, and what put me into becoming an entrepreneur was that I left IBM as an employee, and they called me back and said, "Hey, we want to hire you back as a subcontractor," is what they called it. And they said, "Are you open to that? We're even going to give you your first employee." And before I knew it, I was an entrepreneur. So by 27, I had a company on my own. We had offices in 3 states at one point. I brought that to market in year 16. And basically, we were the first professional services firm in the telecommunications. IBM owned a telecommunications company that became Siemens. So it's sort of interesting, everyone's, I think, founder story, how they became an entrepreneur, right? We all have different ones. So I always say mine was kind of a back doorway, because it wasn't like I said, I'm going to start a business today initially. Yeah, so that brought me to the Pacific, in the Pacific Northwest, and all enterprise-sized clients were our clients: Nike, NASA, Coca-Cola. We were in Beaverton, Oregon. We had an office right outside Oregon at one point when Nike was buying up all the buildings in Beaverton. Like they couldn't find enough office space for them. It was such growth. It was crazy, great time. And then I moved to Tampa, Florida. Now I can't believe it, like 11 years ago almost. And for the last 8 years, this company I started more deliberately for over the past 8 years, I've been the COO for a book publishing company. So again, professional services, but again, the pathway, not always easy, but no one said this job was going to be easy. And so I find myself now over 20 years as an entrepreneur founder.
Yeah, I mean, if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? I mean, the struggles that you've had, being able to go from one industry to another, being a private contractor, being able to really guide yourself and not only be successful in your end, but obviously, be able to succeed other businesses. I really love the fact that you're really being able to really see different views. And what made you want to get into the book publishing industry?
Yeah, well, I joined a marketing program when I moved to Tampa Bay, because here I left, a community that I knew everyone. Everyone kind of knew me, and that to Tampa, where I knew no one, right? So I had joined this pretty expensive marketing program called KPI. They're still in the UK and around. And basically, part of that program was you need to write a book. You are going to be left behind, is what they said. The business brand book is the new business card, and you will be left behind if you don't write a book. So there was about 35 of us, maybe 30 in this group, and there was only 3 of us that published the book and did what they said. And I was one of the 3. And my first book put me into publishing. It's called Never Drink Coffee During a Business Meeting. Life in the Trenches from a Female CEO. And it was everything in Starbucks, who was one of my clients, Starbucks headquarters, in my tech company, it was all those things that I couldn't put in my employee manual. So, and those were days when there weren't a lot of, certifications, or, people didn't say they got their MBA. It was really all about your degree, and then companies would train you. So as I was a company that would train my new engineers and my new trainers for my tech company, it was those things I'd have to teach them along the way. That was in my first book. So my long answer is that writing that book really gave me the background to understand what an author's journey was. And by the time I was promoting my book, I had met a gal who was helping me promote my book that had the dream for the publishing company. So we became partners, and one thing led to another. We started publishing books. We took on a couple magazines in the mix in there. So we learned magazine publishing, both print and online, and then just have loved this job, and it's changed so much. And so I love what I do, and I'm very fortunate.
So, being able to really, network and not only bring visions to reality, like what have been like one of the biggest struggles you've had so far that you would say that's like helped you in your career?
Well, I think, as you mentioned, it's two different industries, right? So the first thing you have to learn with any business that you start is how do you affect sales? How do you sell your widget?
Right.
Where is the revenue coming in? I mean, that is front foremost, keep your eye on it. And it's always what you have to start off with, right? Or you're going to fail. So what I had to do, and I call it the widget, is, I had to now figure out how to sell the widget, how to sell the book.
Mhm.
I didn't have that in my other job. I knew business, but I was professional services, and our,
Right.
change orders were $10,000. Well, now I'm selling a book for $9.99. What's my margin like? Where's my demo? What's my effective sale? How on earth am I going to do it? So I would say that, definitely was a challenge. I was up for it. And initially I learned these things I call it grassroots marketing, going to these networking groups and coffee shops, and that, you name it, I went there, from book fairs to I went everywhere. I had to learn it. I had to figure it out. And I didn't have anyone, to say, oh, this is how you do it. And then I found out how kludgy, or how different the publishing industry is from what I knew with a tech industry, and what is so, white papers, sketching everything out. They didn't call them white papers back when I started, but, the white paper tech industry to the no holds bar, say anything, do anything publishing industry. That was definitely apples and oranges, growth period for me. But we figured it out, and we established what our own standards and values and benchmarks are.
All right. So being able to be in, you see both sides of, like you said, the publishing side, and now this, and also the tech side. Has there been any overlaps in being able to really help your employees or help your business grow? Like, what have you seen that's really overlapped over each other?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's always business fundamentals. I'll say this when I, talk to people. There's business fundamentals that apply to every industry, every business, large or small or otherwise. And I was very fortunate to start off with my, right out of college, my first job was with IBM. So I feel like I was very fortunate to learn a lot of those business fundamentals. And I am a business girl. I was reading, business bios in high school and college. So I've read them all. I still love business books, today. So there are fundamentals that translate in any industry. So certainly we've seen that within the tech industry and publishing. But one of the keys I was thinking about as I was thinking through about being on your show today is that, what I've seen in a change in my 20-year career, we don't need to know exactly, but 20 some year career, what I've seen a huge change is what the employees or the human resource personnel looks like, right?
Mhm.
So back in my tech company, I had a human resource manager, I had a personnel person, they were all employees except for I had one 1099. Well, these days, everyone's 1099.
Yeah.
And some of my most skilled and longest 1099 people that don't even work in this country, right? That was so far different from before, but the fundamental is the same. You still have to be excellent at managing people. at taking care of your resources, be a great people person to understand what's going to keep them motivated, what is going to keep them loyal, and keep them as a trusted resource that will really help you out. Because in book publishing, like many other companies, we have hard and fast deadlines. And,
Right.
I have to have people on my team that I go to and treat them well to say, look, I'm so sorry, but we got 3 books we got to get out by next week. Can you work Saturday and Sunday around the clock? Now, hopefully I don't do that all the time because no one's going to, no one can do that. You got to have quality of life. I get it. But, there is that same fundamental of being able to understand and manage good people and keep the good people on your team and keep them happy.
Well, it sounds like, like you're doing really well with your business. I mean, 8 years like I said, 8 years you established in Tampa, and being able to really have those hardships. Like, what else do you see how do you see your business growing even more in Tampa? Or do you see like yourself staying there, or do you see yourself moving somewhere else?
Well, I mean, we definitely have, we do have international book clients and we have national clients. And for the last about 3 years, we've been getting a lot more national clients. We just went through a branding change in April of last year. So we're really full steam ahead on that. We're doing a new TV channel. It's about 30 days from launch. I've got a whole bunch of new podcasts. I resurrected a podcast. I am doing new things in this company big time as of last year. So we are going for broke. Our plans are to stay in book publishing for the next 10 years. I have 2 daughters in college and I can't make enough money for them. So I've got to keep on working hard so I could keep on supporting them, and I'm happy to do it, but it keeps me employed and looking towards the future. And, we've really caught our stride. Is kind of how I look at our company these days. But we caught our stride where we know what we're doing. We published about 70 some books. We've got it down. We know what works. We know what our client needs for promotion. It's a well-oiled machine. So we're striving and we're driving fast, and we're looking for new roads to new pathways to go into this year.
Okay. So speaking of looking to the future, no one knows what's going to happen now, right? I mean, we have a lot of things going up and down, markets going up and down. Being able to even live paycheck to paycheck, even with $100,000, is pretty crazy, right? So, what do you see the future being with being able to really provide for your company? I mean, book publishing is going to be obviously something that's never going to go, but how do you see yourself and your company really changing with the dynamics of the market?
Well, I think, one fundamental is always true, and that is make sure you have multiple lines of revenue.
Sorry.
Right? That's okay. That's all right. Having multiple lines of revenue. So let's say that we're not landing
Alexa, turn off.
publishing clients. But we have publicity for, we're PR and publicity for authors. So we have, CEOs that want, media bookings and that. So we've got multiple lines of revenue. So that always helps us, keep the money coming in. And, again, I guess I'm just destined to talk about how many years I've been doing this in my age.
Oh,
but, what I've seen in the years I've been in business is, the ups and downs of so many things, the .com, the Y2K, the recession, the COVID. I've seen so much of it that I know that what goes down comes up. So if we have a hard year this year for whatever reason, and you're right, it's not starting off great, but it's early. It's early. We're not even in February yet. We're not even past Q1. That it will come up one time. And so, what you do is you don't focus on anything that's around you. Again, like we were talking about, focus on revenue, focus on what your Q2 goals are. I need to start building our Q3. Focus on the areas that that you've gotten feedback and reviews from your clients or otherwise that you need to improve. Focus on what you did not so good last year. Focus on what you hope to do this year. There's so many things to focus on that's not related to the outside world and what's going on, that's how we, stay above the fray and just keep on going. And we can't let it affect our mindset.
Right. I mean, I feel like a lot of people get really discouraged when they hit a road, right? Hit like a pothole and like their destination or where they need to be. But essentially, like you said, you can't look at it as like a minute. You have to look at it as like a bigger year, right? It's just a day out of the year or a day out of 5 years. And I think a lot of people are now wanting to get things right then and there. They don't trust the process. And you are an example of trusting the process. You are a very successful woman. You're a very, very successful person in general. I mean, having 2 businesses, being able to really juggle not only the expertise you have in multiple years, but also to really define, like I said, the business dynamics and also just the basic necessities you need to be successful. I think that it shows, and that's what a lot of people need to see.
Well, thank you. It really has to do with the patience, having that quality. And, the 20-year younger me had less patience than I have today. Part of that, I think, is when you become a parent, you got to be patient, and you also have to display that for your children who are watching you. My daughters are, how is she handling that she's in line at Starbucks and she's got a meeting and there's 10 people and no one is going fast? I mean, you learn right away that whatever you model is what you're shaping in your daughter. So there's many good reasons for patience, but one of them really is understanding that you might be impatient because you didn't reach your number. People have, I want to make $1 million by I'm 30, or whatever that is. Like you were talking about,
Right.
A person doesn't reach their, we're going to have 5 shops in 3 years, and it didn't happen, so they're disappointed. But that number, it is so inconsequential, and there's probably a really good reason why you don't have 3 franchises right now when you thought you'd have it in 2 years, because you probably couldn't handle it or it would have failed. So just have some patience, take a breath, and know it will come in its due time. Right? We learn that, we hear it, we know it, but for us to live it sometimes is really difficult. So you just gotta say, okay, I'm gonna do it. I don't like it, but I'm gonna give myself some patience and see what happens.
Yeah, I feel like that a lot of people are just always rushing, but it's just a thing where you have to just really understand your strengths and also where you lack. And like you said, maybe you didn't get the 5 shops because you weren't ready. Maybe if you did have them, it would have failed. So it's really good to have that outlook, and I think a lot of viewers need to really look at that. They need to understand, they need to step back a little bit more to really understand, hey, maybe this isn't my time right now, but I'm building my character to be there. So.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
since we don't know what the future is going to be looking like, we don't know how the market is and everything like that, do you see a way for other entrepreneurs or other people to be successful and being able to enhance their income in other ways? Or do you feel like they just should just hone into what they know versus like going to in other areas of investments, I guess you could say? Like, what do you think?
So I am a true believer in don't wait for tomorrow.
Okay.
Don't not act on what you feel is what you should do. Don't not take that leap when you think you have a killer idea. Investigate it, try to make it work, get other people to help you. You don't have to do things on your own. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to be a solo, entrepreneur. Do whatever it takes. Don't stifle, no matter what. And again, if you would only do it because someone's telling you maybe that you shouldn't do it, you're reading something that's telling you not to do it. Like you said, you're letting those external elements, right, speak into you to change your mind. Absolutely not. This is to be honest, this is usually the time, and I don't know if I didn't Google this or anything, but it seems like, when there's struggles, when there's issues in the economy, when there's blockages or whatever it is, it's usually when we come up with
That's
some
time.
pretty great things, right? I mean, what comes out of the ashes, they say.
Right.
So absolutely go for it. But I'm a risk taker for sure, and that's a very big trait of an entrepreneur. But I am a calculated risk taker. So be a calculated, intelligent, smart person on what you want to do. Pay the bills and how you can for a while. But if you have to take that leap and you have to quit your job so you can move forward, do it. You'll get another job if you need it.
Yeah.
You're a smart person, whoever's listening. You are, but I'm talking to whoever we're talking about.
Of course.
You can do it. So yeah, go for it.
Well, thank you very much for your insight. I think a lot of people need to hear just more words of encouragement. We're not going, like I said, the economy is not looking the best, but like I said, those are whenever the best ideas happen, because you don't realize what you need or how you need something until it happens. They're always saying that you might have the money here, but might not be able to deploy it. But sometimes when you have someone who is ready to take the challenge, they're not ready for it. So now what you got to do is just like kind of build that character. But
Yes.
as we're wrapping up on this interview, do you have any any exciting plans or anything in the future in the next 6 months to a year?
I do. So first of all, I decided last year when I became the empty nester mom that I am with my two daughters now away in college, I was going to travel a lot this year. And I'm going to say domestic for now. I mean, I definitely have my sights on some out of the country trips, but I've already got 4 booked. I'm super excited about that for me. I'm a tennis player and a pickleball player, and I kind of stepped out of the league a little bit. I'm coming back into my USTA league this year. I know I'm telling you personal stuff because
I love it. No, I love it. Yeah.
But it's important that we have an outlet outside of business. And I'm not a workaholic. I changed that. I have days I don't work. I don't work on Sunday. That's my God day. And I really try not to work after hours or Saturdays because I do put in 100 hours during the week. So I feel like that's enough, right? In the week. So it's so important for all of you, even entrepreneurs starting up that's on that, call it the steep grind of first 5 years. To have the outlet that give you joy, that make you happy. And I definitely have that. And then just enjoying the talented people on my team. And like I said, that we're really, cruising now. So it's a pretty fun road to meet with new people. Just a lot of fun this year. More fun. How's that?
Well, that's the thing is like a lot of people, they lose track of having the me time. And once that happens, you really just drive yourself into the ground. But the thing is, people need to see the best of you, not the rest of you. And that's what I always try to tell people.
Good.
So that's what I try to always tell people, like, understand, to be successful, you have to show the best of you, not the rest. And once people see that, they follow you. And that's what makes a great leader, in my opinion. Cool.
I love that. I'm going to hashtag that. And speaking, no, I won't take credit for it. That's fine.
You can. No, you can.
But, I can. I love that so much. Well, and we're doing a new TV channel, Liza Marie Garcia TV. So we're doing a new channel and all that. So yeah, just fun stuff, but like you said, I love that hashtag, the best of you, not the rest of you.
Well,
you're great.
Thank you very much for your time and your insight. Could you possibly tell our viewers where they could find you, any social media or any link? I know we have LinkedIn. So what's the best way to reach you?
Thank you for asking. So really, the main platform you can see everything we do and who I am is LinkedIn. So, and it's Liza Marie Garcia. But, I work for ceobookpublishing.com. And like I said, Liza Marie Garcia, you can Google me and Tampa, Florida. You'll see that and look for our new channel, Liza Marie Garcia TV.
All right. So sounds like a plan. Thank you very much for your day and your time. I know you're a busy woman, and I hope everything goes well for you in the future.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this interview. Thank you, Tristan.
Of course. Hope you have a great day. Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Pathways to Prosperity podcast. Got a success story to share? Visit pathwaystoprosperitypodcast.com/guest and apply today.